organizing them. So segment 5 in the Conquer Your Photos workshop, we're actually going to conquer more than photos in this one. So organizing and storing photos / videos and some other things in Forever is awesome. I have been doing it for a little while and I love it. It's a fantastic system that makes organizing and storing your photos and your videos and other things easy, doable, and convenient. So this is a way of permanently storing your photos for ultimate security and easy shareability. So before we talk more about organizing and storing photos, I want to just point out the difference between storing and preserving. They're not actually the same thing. In this segment, we'll talk about and we'll do some organizing and storing, but just remember that storing is putting something away and preserving is keeping something alive. They're not exactly the same thing. You can do both with Forever, but they're not exactly the same thing. So I'm going to give you 3 sort of tips for organizing your photos before we go in and actually do a little bit of it. The first one is to declutter. So throw away duplicates, throw away similar photos. This one looks almost like this one, just pick one. Throw away blurry pictures. You probably have a lot of photos, and decluttering to keep only the best ones helps you have fewer photos that need your attention. So pare down whenever possible. The next tip or thought for organizing is to prioritize and choose. This is not advice I would have given 150 years ago. But in the 21st century, this is good advice. So if you think about it this way, photos were meant to be special, but in the 21st century, things have gotten a little bit out of hand. You might have a picture of your finger. I don't know. And so because of that, you may need to prioritize which photos are worth preserving and choose your favorites. Determine your must-have photos that you love and need. Liz says, is 6,000 too much? It just depends on what you can handle. To me, I think if I have too many pictures, if I have more pictures than I can look at, I might need to pare down. I might need to prioritize and choose. So if 6,000 works for you, that's awesome. If it doesn't, you might want to prioritize and choose. Great question. All right. I like your LOL at the end of that. Yeah. Third thought for organizing is to consider the value of non-people photos. So I'll give you an example. It feels very natural to take 20 pictures of the Eiffel Tower on a trip to Paris. But photos of places are all over the internet and can be Googled. You know what the Eiffel Tower looks like, right? So consider a focus on preserving photos that have your people in them. Those are the valuable ones. Now, that said, if I had actually taken this photo of the Eiffel Tower, I would totally keep that and preserve that. And that's important because it's artistic and like beautiful. But, you know, just keep that in mind. How many pictures without people do we need? Do we know what the Grand Canyon looks like or, you know, whatever? Just keep that in check. We were talking in a previous segment in the Q&A about lots of pictures of flowers and lots of pictures of birds that may not necessarily need to be passed to the next generation. Okay, so how to organize digital photos. I think this is the best advice I can give you, which is decide what works best in your brain and do that. You might want to organize chronologically by month and year. You might want to organize by topic, like vacation or Christmas or whatever. Or maybe there's another idea that you have, another way of organizing that would work best for you. If you do what makes the most sense to your brain, it'll be easier. It's just easier to do. I personally like to organize chronologically because I don't have to think as much. So I already know that, so I organize by year, and then within that folder, I have a subfolder for month. So I'll have, say, a 2017 folder, and then inside that I'll have January 2017, February 2017, et cetera, right? So when I take Halloween 2017 pictures, I already know where they go. They go in the 2017 folder in the October subfolder. And so I like organizing that way. That makes sense to my brain. If something else makes sense to your brain, do that. Forever is really easy to organize in. You can create albums and nested albums, which are like folders and subfolders. And once you've got your preferred system set up, you can easily upload photos from a phone, tablet, computer. You can easily share with others. It's great. You can see this one, for example, I have a folder called Europe Anniversary Trip. Now, normally this would be under like 2017, right? But because I took so many pictures of this trip, I made the year, the month, and then this trip. And then within this trip, I still have like, what is it, 5, 7 subfolders just to further organize. So whatever works for you, like I said, is what you should do. Yeah, Liz says it's good. You can't do chronological. Sorry, I'll just read what it says instead of trying to summarize. That's all well and good unless they're old pictures. Can't do chronological then, I found out. Yeah, because if you're scanning them all in and uploading them, then they're going to have the current date on them. So you would have to go through and like name them and date them and like all that. Yeah, it would be a lot of extra work. And you may not know the dates and stuff like that. That can be tough. When I did that with my mom's pictures that she left me, I did decades. Because I could kind of at least tell, well, this is from the 70s because we lived in that house, and this is from the 80s because, you know, so, but you just do what you can. Yep. So more about forever storage. So you can, just like I showed you, do the albums and the nested albums, and you can even nest, you know, down below that. But to organize further beyond albums and nested albums, I love this about Forever. You can add descriptions and tags. The descriptions are your memories. It's just the story behind the photo. The tags are searchable. So for example, if I tag this photo Bob, then I tag all the other photos of Bob, then I can go through and search and I can find all the photos that I've tagged Bob. It's really a cool feature. So let me show you an example. So I have here a photo, and then it's got the original name that the camera gave it, and then the date it was taken, blah, blah, blah. But then in the description, I could come in and write, okay, we were in this town and blah, blah, and here's what this building is and blah, blah. And then down here, so the description is my memories, right? And then the tags down here, I've tagged anniversary, Europe, Germany, and then my name and my husband's name. So if I want to see all the pictures of anniversary trips, I would just type in and then search by the tag anniversary, right? So that's just an example. So along with that, I really recommend getting the Forever Phone app because it's really just the ultimate convenience. You can go in and organize in all those folders or albums and nested albums. I often do it before like a big event, like a wedding or, you know, something like that. I'll go in and put in all my albums and nested albums and get everything all organized, and then they're totally empty. But then I go to the event or on the trip or whatever, and then from my phone, I'll just throw all my photos in all those albums and nested albums that I've already organized and set up. So if you go and search for the Forever app, it'll look like this in your app store or wherever you get your apps. And it's a free app, it's secure, and it doesn't have ads or anything like that. But I really recommend it because it's just so convenient. All right, so let's do it. Let's go in and create an album. So what you'll need to do is log into your Forever account, and we'll get you started by at least setting up an album and a nested album in whatever organizational method works for you. We're just going to do that. We only have a few minutes, so we'll just do that for now. And then in a later segment of the workshop, we're going to have a 30-minute segment where all we do is work. So you can come back to this later if you don't get very far. The way that you will do it is you'll log into your Forever account, and then you'll click albums, and then you'll see a little plus button that says create an album, create a nested album, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording so that we can work on that together. Feel free to ask questions during this pause time. We only have 4 minutes until the next segment starts, so we'll just do this real quick. If you need to email me a question, my email address is down at the bottom.